Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes.
Charmaine, can you hear me? Charmaine?
Yes.
Shadrach, are you able to hear me? Shadrach, can you hear me? Samantha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's get our pens ready and our papers. Today we are going to do agriculture. We are going to learn agriculture. We are continuing from our last lesson on plants. We are continuing. Today we are going to learn about plant nutrition. Plant nutrition. Shadrach and Tyron's network. Plant nutrition. Can you hear me properly? Plant nutrition. Okay. We are learning about plant nutrition. Okay. So our keywords under plant nutrition are, there is nutrients. You can take that down. Nutrients, it's a keyword because we have to define and know what are nutrients. Nutrients, that's a keyword. Another keyword is major, major, M-A-J-O-R. These are the keywords for our topic today. Tyron, unlock your video. Tyron Spenton, unlock your video. Tyron Spenton, may you unlock your video. Okay, and unlock your audio. Your audio is off. Unlock your audio, Tyron. Your audio is off. Your audio is off. Unlock your audio. We say today we are going to learn about plant nutrition. Our keywords are nutrients. Tyron, your audio. Okay. We say that nutrients is one keyword. The second keyword is major. And the next keyword is yield. Y-I-E-L-D. As we are proceeding through our learning, when we're talking about plant nutrition, at the end of the day, you must make sure that you are able to know what are nutrients, what is something major, and what is a yield, okay? So we are firstly going to define a nutrient. What is a nutrient? We're going to define a nutrient. Tyron, unlock your video. Unlock your video, Tyron. If you can hear me, unlock your video. Okay. Now it's okay. Okay. We said nutrients. Nutrients, these are substances. That's the definition for a nutrient. These are substances used by plants. These are substances used by plants. Nutrients are substances. Welcome, Tyron. We are learning about plant nutrition. I'm defining nutrients. Okay. Nutrients are substances that are used by plants, people, and animals to survive. Nutrients, these are substances used by plants, people, and animals to survive. They are plants, they are substances, used by plants, people, and animals to survive, comma, grow and reproduce. Grow and reproduce. Grow and reproduce. grow and reproduce. Iron, your video is still off. Okay. Shadrach, if you're able to hear me, please wave your hand. If you're able to hear me, Shadrach, please wave your hand. Okay. We say nutrients are substances used by plants, people, and animals to survive, to grow, and reproduce. Nutrients are required by both plants and animals. So today we said we're talking about plant nutrition. So plants also need nutrients just like people and animals. We have our carbohydrates, our vitamins, our proteins, fats, and mineral salts. This is a balanced diet that we need as people, okay? Plants also need certain types of nutrients that are going to enable them to grow, to enable them to survive, and to reproduce, okay? If you put your maize seed, it's a seed. For it to grow, for it to reproduce, for it to survive any season, the heat, the cold, it has to have nutrients, okay? So that's why we're talking about plant nutrition, because in agriculture, we want to grow crops. We want to make sure that these crops, when we grow them, we're going to reproduce something. And when we produce something, we might eat that thing or we can sell it. So that's why it is important for us to know the nutrition of plants so that if a certain plant has a certain problem, which is called a deficiency, if a plant lacks something, maybe it's now yellow, then you know this plant lacks this type of a nutrient. And then you can go and look for that nutrient, apply it to the soil, and then the plant grows well. Okay. Just like you, if people can notice that a child is kwashiorkor, okay, that child lacks a certain nutrient, which is a protein. So you give them meat, eggs, milk, and that child is healed of that, the kwashiorkor. So it's just like plants as well. Plants also have certain diseases that they have, especially if they lack a certain nutrient. That's why we talk about plant nutrition. Okay. So now we say that plants require nutrients because these nutrients, what are the benefits of the nutrients? That's our second, I want us to write the second one, the benefits of these nutrients. Why should these plants have nutrients? What are the benefits? The first benefit is that nutrients makes plants to grow. That's the first one. Nutrients, they make the plants to grow. Number two, nutrients makes the plant to grow faster. Okay. A maize seed that has nutrients, full nutrients, is going to grow faster than that one that doesn't have. That one is going to take longer, and even at the end of the day, when it comes out, just be small millis. Okay, but while it's that other one that has proper nutrients, you'll find it green, even the millis are big, you can harvest a lot. So the nutrients, they make the plants to grow, they make them grow faster, and also they keep the plants healthy. That's another benefit of nutrients. Nutrients help the plants to look healthy, green and healthy. That plant will have enough chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the green color of the leaves. Okay. And another part is another benefit of nutrients, that nutrients help the plants to produce good food. Remember, plants produce their own food. When we relate to science and technology, we call that photosynthesis, where plants are able to make their own food. So through nutrients, a plant is able to make its own food. A plant is able to grow. A plant is able to grow faster. A plant is able to keep healthy. So nutrients are very important. Now we are going to name the three major nutrients for plants. The first one is called potassium. We have potassium. Potassium is one major nutrient that a plant needs. Potassium is one major nutrient that a plant needs. The second one is nitrogen. Samantha, are you able to hear me properly? Samantha, can you hear me properly? Okay. Nitrogen is the second type of a nutrient that plants need. The third one, oh, I forgot potassium. It's potassium's chemical letter is a K. Nitrogen's chemical letter is an N. The third one is called phosphorus. Its chemical letter is a P. So we are going to talk about the NPK, which are the three major plant nutrients. You might be asked to explain what does NPK stand for. NPK, these are the plant nutrients, the three major plant nutrients, which stands for nitrogen, N, potassium, K, phosphorus, a P. Okay, so any plant that needs to grow well, that needs to stay healthy, that needs to grow faster, and that needs to produce its own food needs nutrients. Now we are going to go and talk about the nutrient, the sources, the uses, and the deficiencies. I would love you to make a table. Can you make a table? A table, the first one, the first line, make sure it's a nutrient at the top. Put nutrient, then you draw your line going down. Make a table. The first line, put nutrient, then you draw your line. Nutrient, then you draw your line. We are making a table. We want to explain where these sources of nutrients come from, what are the uses, and what are the deficiency symptoms. You might be asked to be given a table in an exam, and you may be asked to fill. You may be asked. Tyrone, are you able to hear me? Tyrone, can you hear me?
No.
You cannot hear
No.
me? What about now? You still cannot hear me?
I can.
You can, okay. All right, I said we are making a table, okay? The first one, you write nutrient, then you draw your line going down. And then the second line, put sources, the word sources. So we're going to have 4 lines. The first one, nutrient. The second line, put the word sources, and then you draw your line going down again, okay? You want to look at the 3 nutrients. Sources, the next line, put uses. 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 And then the last line, put deficiency signs. What does deficiency mean? Is there anyone who knows what deficiency means? When we say deficiency, anyone who knows what it means? When we say deficiency, anyone who knows what does deficiency mean? Deficiency means lacking something. If you say lack of, okay, that's what deficiency. If you say something is something deficiency is something that is lacking there, something that is not there. So when the potassium is not there, there are deficiency symptoms that a plant has. Like for example, when we are talking about, when we say that a child who has kwashiorkor, right? The deficiency symptoms are the stomach or the belly that you see for that child. The child looks thin and malnutrition, okay? So those things are the deficiency symptoms. So now I want to talk about the deficiency symptoms as well of the nutrient. The first nutrient that we are going to talk about, so under nutrient, can you write nitrogen? Nitrogen. Under nutrient, you write nitrogen. Write nitrogen. And then under sources, we're going to talk about where do we get this nitrogen from? We get the nitrogen from ammonium nitrate. Ammonium is A double M O A double M O N I M. So which means a plant gets nitrogen from ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate, which is capitalized as AN. Ammonium nitrate. In science, you can write the whole word as ammonium nitrate, or you can just write capital letter AN. That is the scientific symbol for ammonium nitrate. So with ammonium nitrate, we have urea as well. Urea is another source for nitrogen. Urea is U-R-E-A. Urea, that's another source where we can get nitrogen from. Urea. So if you go to an industry, remember, potassium, nitrogen, these are inorganic fertilizers. They are manufactured in industry. So if you want, maybe when you know that your plant lacks nitrogen, you go to the farm industry where they sell fertilizers and you look for ammonium nitrate. If you apply ammonium nitrate to your plant, that plant will get nitrogen. If you apply urea to a plant, the plant will get its nitrogen. The other source of nitrogen is from organic manure, which means the manure that we have, the organic manure, cow manure, pig manure, chicken manure, rabbit manure, all that manure also contains nitrogen. The organic manure, it also contains nitrogen. This is the source of nitrogen. Okay, now we go to the uses. What are the uses of nitrogen on a plant? Nitrogen, it helps the greenish color in a plant. Who can tell me what we call the greenish color of a plant? What do we call it in science? The greenish color of a plant. What is it called scientifically? Yes, Shadrach. What do we call it?
Chlorophyll.
Sorry, Shadrach?
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll, yes. The scientific term for
Chlorophyll.
yes, chlorophyll, that's correct, Shadrach. It's called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. The scientific, so nitrogen is responsible for chlorophyll on a plant. The green part of the plant, for the plant to remain green, for the leaf to remain green, that plant has nitrogen. So the moment you see a plant having yellow leaves, you already know that this plant lacks nitrogen. So you go to a shop, or you go and buy your ammonium nitrate or your urea, or you go to a place where they keep chickens, you get your chicken manure, you put it, you know that your plant is going to grow and have its green leaves again, okay? Now, what is the deficiency signs? Now I want you to go to the deficiency signs. What are the signs when the tree or the plant does not have nitrogen? If there is yellowing of leaves, the leaves change to yellow. That's the deficiency signs. When a plant does not have nitrogen, the leaves turn yellow. Yellowing of leaves, that's the first one. The second one is slow growth. The plant grows very slow than other plants. Other plants will be growing higher. Maybe you look at the height of the plant, it's still smaller than the other ones, which means you already know that that plant lacks nitrogen. Slow growth. And the next one is low yield. There is low yield, meaning that when this plant grows, maybe the maize, some other maize crops, there are 4 or 5 on it, just has one small one, you can tell that this plant lacks nitrogen, okay? And also another use of nitrogen, we say it is for chlorophyll, another use, it is for protein manufacturing in plants. So which means nitrogen also helps plants to produce proteins. It's for protein manufacturing in plants. That's the use for nitrogen. That is the use for nitrogen. Now we are going to phosphorus. That's our second nutrient, phosphorus. Phosphorus, we get phosphorus from compound fertilizers. Who can give me an example of a compound fertilizer? Who can give me an example of a compound fertilizer? Who can give me an example of a compound fertilizer? Those fertilizers have the word compound at the front. They are called compound fertilizers. Anyone who knows a compound fertilizer? Anyone who knows a compound fertilizer? There is compound A, compound B, compound C. So phosphorus comes from compound fertilizers. If you hear a fertilizer called compound A, compound B, compound C, compound, those fertilizers, they give us phosphorus. All compound fertilizers give us phosphorus, okay? And we also have single and double superphosphate, called single and double superphosphate. Single and double superphosphate. It's another type of a fertilizer. It's called single and double superphosphate. It is another type of a fertilizer. This fertilizer also gives us phosphorus. It also gives us phosphorus. What what are the uses of phosphorus on a plant? What are the uses of phosphorus on a plant? Phosphorus is for leaf growth. That's the first one. For the plant to have its leaves, it is because of phosphorus. Leaf growth, root formation, leaf growth, root formation, and root growth. For a plant to start having its roots going down, okay, root growth and root formation, that is phosphorus. It is the assistance of a phosphorus fertilizer. Now, what are the deficiency symptoms? If a plant does not have phosphorus, what do we see on a plant? The first one is purple leaves. If you see a plant having purple leaves, you already know that this plant lacks phosphorus, okay? If a plant has purple leaves show that this plant lacks phosphorus. There is also poor root or tuber development. There is no root development. You put your plant, you are growing your plant, and then you put your seed. 2 days, 3 days, there is nothing. There is no root, there is nothing. So if that plant does not develop its roots, if that seed does not develop its roots, already you know it lacks phosphorus. You need to go and look for a phosphorus containing fertilizer, which is the super sulfate, okay, the super phosphate that we buy from the stores. The third nutrient is called potassium. Potassium is the third nutrient. Potassium is the third nutrient. Potassium. We get it from something called, now we're going to the sources. What are the sources? Where do we get potassium from? It is called muriate, M-U-R-A, M-U-R-A-T-E, M-U-R-A-T-E, muriate of potash. So we get potassium from a fertilizer called potash, muriate of potash. Potash is P-O-T-A-S-H. So we get potassium from potash, which is P-O-T-A-S-H. And what are the uses of potassium on a plant? It is used for flower formation. Potassium is for flower formation. If you see your tree getting all those flowers, already you know that this tree has potassium. Flower formation and fruit development. We all love fruits like the mango tree. In December, you start seeing its flowers. The mango tree firstly has flowers, and then those flowers, they start developing into these fruits. So for fruit formation, there is a indication that this tree has potassium. So if your plant does not have potassium, it's not going to have any fruits. You find that people will say, my guava tree does not have fruits, which means that guava tree lacks potassium. There is a need for you to go and look for potash in the industries, apply it, and you find that your tree is going to bear some fruits for you. What are the deficiency signs? The deficiency signs are dropping of leaves, the dropping of leaves, and there are scorched edges of the leaves. The leaves seem like they are bent, they seem brown, like the edges of the leaves. They seem they are brownish. You find that the leaf is green, but the edges, they look like they are bent and brown at around the edges there. That is an indication that that tree or that plant lacks potassium. Okay, now I'm going to ask my questions. Who can tell me what is the use of nitrogen on a plant? What is the use of nitrogen on a plant? What is the use of nitrogen on a plant? What is the use of nitrogen on a plant? What is the use of nitrogen on a plant? Anyone who can tell me? Yes, Samantha?
Give plant green leaves.
Yes, it gives plants its green color. We say nitrogen is for chlorophyll. chlorophyll formation, and for protein formation. So for a plant to have this greenish color, the leaves, it means that it has nitrogen. Who can tell me the use of potassium on a plant? The use of potassium on a plant. What is the use of potassium on a plant? The use of potassium on a plant. Use of potassium on a plant. Yes, Samantha?
Reduce.
Sorry, Samantha, please can you repeat yourself?
Produce food and
To produce?
and
To produce?
food, flowers and food.
Yes, to produce flowers and fruit. Potassium is for fruit and flower formation. Where we talked about the mango tree that we love so much. For the, especially the mango tree is a good example because the mango tree firstly has those flowers that are there that keep on falling on the ground. And after those flowers, they develop into small, small fruits. So for your mango tree to start developing its fruits and having its flowers, there is an indication that that tree has potassium. If you see that your mango tree is not producing any fruits, you can go to the, you can advise people to go and look for potash, apply potash, and you can find your tree having its fruits and flowers. What about phosphorus? What is the use of phosphorus on a plant? Yes, Tyrone. Tyrone, is your hand up?
I can't hear you.
Sorry?
Can't hear.
For? You can't hear me. Can you now hear me? Tyrone, can you hear me now? Jacqueline, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Samantha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Tyrone, you still cannot hear me? I think he's now able to hear me. Shadrach, what is the use of phosphorus on a plant? Your hand was up.
Leaf growth and root formation.
Leaf growth and root
formation.
Yes, that is correct. It is for leaf growth and root formation. So remember that today we're talking about plant nutrition. Nutrients are very important to plants as well. Plants are living organisms just like people and animals because they reproduce. They also produce their own food through photosynthesis. Okay, so which means they also need nutrients for them to grow and produce. And as people in agriculture, we say that agriculture is the growing of crops and the keeping of animals. So the plants, they are very important to us in agriculture. That's why we must take good care of them for them to produce whatever we have done. If we talk about commercial farmers who sell their farm produce, they need to know about plant nutrition because when they buy a seed, they expect to get something in return. Imagine you buy your seed with $100 and there is nothing. You don't get anything after that. Okay, so plant nutrition is important. I am going to upload work that is related to plant nutrition. Make sure you are able to relate whatever we're talking about now on plant nutrition. Remember, our main plant nutrients are potassium, phosphorus, and nitrogen. These three are needed by plants and their sources are different. You must know their sources, you must know their deficiency, and must know their uses, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a chance to say goodbye to one another before we end our lesson for today.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, bye Tyrone, bye Shadrach, bye Samantha. Okay.